about this?
Shalom. I like to say, call Eloah Hawala, which is all praise on glory in Hebrew. To Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rakar Kadash, the monster apostle, Els Great Millstone, bless God, the elect, you sisters and Islam foreigners, awaken the on truth. My name is Kamafi from GMS Cleveland, coming at you with another lesson. Alright, and as you can see from the title, it says it's the worst thing, COVID with a fatal rate of 40-75%. Officials trying to contain the Nipah virus. Okay, it's from Anton Daniels' channel, and there's a video popping my feed. Decided to do this one. I'm going and play it, hit the scriptures, and Lord will be edified. All right.
Quarantines, testing, contact tracing, airport screenings. Does all this sound very familiar? Unfortunately, don't worry. It is not 2020 again. It's not COVID. But this is serious. There is a different virus outbreak in India that is triggering all of those familiar precautions in parts of Asia right now. It is called the Nipah virus, okay? And it's often deadly, has a fatality rate of 40 to 75%. There are only 2 cases of the virus in India so far, but it has prompted airports in Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia to step up their screenings to prevent a bigger outbreak. And the virus is carried by bats and pigs, but it can be spread human-human contact. But how easy is it to be transmitted? What's the incubation period? How worried should we be? I'm joined right now by an infectious disease epidemiologist at the Hartford Belfer Center, Dr. Saira Madad. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. What exactly is the Nipah virus?
Well, the Nipah virus is a serious virus, and as you've mentioned, it does have a high case fatality rate, anywhere from 40 to 70%, and that also depends on where you're getting healthcare services. So if you're in a country that has good a healthcare delivery system, you could probably get much better care, and that case fatality rate is likely much lower. Now, with that said, as I mentioned, it is a serious virus. It has no approved vaccines or therapeutics, but in this context, it is a small and contained outbreak, and it is closely being monitored. And so when we look at these 2 cases that have been confirmed in India, in West Bengal, about 200 contacts have been identified, tested, and are negative, and at this time, no additional cases have been detected, as well as there's no evidence of spread outside of India. While you've noted, a couple of countries have started to implement enhanced airport screening, that's more of a sign of a precautionary step than to signal a wider spread of transmission. So this is just precautionary.
Mike?
So wait a minute. You basically having the same thing, and that they saying that it comes from an animal, and they're starting to do contact screening. They have to prompt them to step up their screenings and make sure that they're containing the virus and do contact tracing, which is basically tracing it back to the original host. And then on top of that, there's an incubation period of at least 2 weeks, which means that somebody could have jumped on a plane after getting in contact with it, however they get in contact with it. And here's the caveat to that. The fatality rate is wide ranging from 44 to like 75%. I know one thing is for sure and 2 things is for certain. I'm never going to do a shutdown again. You can forget it. I'm not signing up for it. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm never going to be contained within a house ever again. It's just not happening. So what is now being communicated, because this has hit my desk, and obviously I've gotten a lot of emails from different people that are highlighting, hey, Anton, can you speak on this? What are your thoughts on this, so on and so forth? My job for you guys is to inform you. Yes, I do give you my opinion. Yes, I do give you my perspective. But then at the same time, you have to draw your own conclusions and come to the conclusion that you are going to make a decision based off of the information that's provided for you. So when I see something like this comes across my desk or in my email, and I'm starting to see multiple ones of it, because I remember during the pandemic or during what they would call COVID or the coronavirus, I noticed people communicating about it, and I even seen somebody that got sick from it way back in like August, September of 2019. By the time that they started to communicate it to everybody else, it was 2020. And I remember, and I told y'all this on the Millionaire Morning Show for those of y'all that tuned in, I had a nephew who I had went over, and his brother, who they lived together, and he was like, yo, Anton, you got to come and see this. You got to check this out. And so we went over there, and we was just like, yo, what's going on? Did you go to the hotel? All of this stuff. To the hospital. And he was like, yo, they couldn't figure it out. They said it wasn't the flu, but I just feel deathly ill. He was like, yo, I feel deathly ill. I don't know what's going on. He said, I can't taste. I can't breathe. And he was a relatively young guy. He was only like 23, 24, maybe even 22 at the time. And so he wound up getting over it and all of that. But I was just like, I was talking about people, and I said, this is crazy. I don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? And I remember because it was like going into the fall. It was like summer going into the fall. And he was just getting violently ill and stuff like that. And I started seeing, and this was in Detroit, right? And they didn't even start to talk about it or have a conversation about it until 2020, right? That's when it really started to break out, and then they started shutting everything down, and they panicked. And you know the rest, right? You live through it. It's almost like they don't even talk about it anymore. And so for a lot of people, because there was a lot of people that passed away, Andrew Cuomo's career was taken as a result of it. For a lot of people, maybe they just buried it, but it's almost like a wound that people actually tried to forget about that never happened. But let me bring y'all up to speed on what more we can learn about this, so that you guys can be prepared if in the event that anything ever spreads over here to the United States of America, God forbid.
concern is whether or not that would actually work. I read that it has a 2-week incubation period. Sometimes symptoms might not even show. This can be spread human-human contact, but it's different than COVID, right?
Do you support Israel and the Jewish people? Now more than ever, Israel needs committed friends around.
It's very different than COVID. So when we talk about COVID-19, we think of, airborne spread. And, with Nipah virus, it is not like that. It doesn't spread through kind of the airborne route. There are 3 ways of transmission. And so when we talk about the 3 ways of transmission, one is from animals to humans. That is what oftentimes, that is what starts the outbreak. And so coming in contact with an infected animal, such as a bat, or through the foodborne route, meaning that the infected animal has contaminated food products like fruit or even a date palm sap, and then a human consumes that and then gets infected. And then the third way is human to human transmission. And through human to human transmission, that is close, prolonged contact. So oftentimes we see that in household settings or in healthcare settings where infection prevention control is not as great.
So in other words, and correct me if I'm wrong, it could be transmitted maybe like the norovirus. So it's not, you have to have prolonged contact with somebody. Is it somebody who's showing symptoms? Because again, the question is going to be, what do people do to prevent this? What are ways that they should avoid it?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. And what's important is because it doesn't spread, as easily through the airborne route like measles and COVID, it is more difficult to get it. But it obviously, you can still get infected if you are in close contact with, any infected animal sources, bodily fluid that's infected, or infected food sources. So with that, prevention really is to avoid these contaminated sources. When we talk about the incubation period, it is anywhere from 4 to 14 days. So when somebody is symptomatic and you see them visibly sick, it's the basic precautions. If you see somebody that is sick, you want to make sure you're keeping a distance from them. And especially if you're in that local area where this outbreak is happening, you want to be even extra cautious. But in other countries, for example, regional spread, it's still very low, and you're seeing these airports, these countries doing enhanced airport monitoring as a precaution. But in terms of spread more internationally, for example, to the United States, that threat is quite low, but it's always good to be prepared.
And by the way, just to reiterate this, what are the symptoms exactly that you should be on the lookout for? And you mentioned there's no established therapeutics or vaccines yet. If you get it, how do you treat it? So 2 questions: what are the symptoms and how do you treat it?
Yeah. So the symptoms, the initial symptoms could be fever, cough, sore throat, and then it can progress to pneumonia or even neurological conditions. It can cause brain swelling and the like, and so it could be pretty rapid sometimes. And then in terms of, the treatments, there is no treatments or vaccines available, so it's really supportive care. So in the hospital, getting supportive care like intensive care support and the like. And we do have some investigational therapeutics, but nothing that's approved.
All right. I hope this is the end of the conversation. Hopefully it is contained. Dr. Medad, thank you so much for taking the time to explain it to us, because I don't know if a lot of people know what's going on out east, and I appreciate it.
So I want to get your thoughts on.
Okay, I said on that. So man, you can see this is a con. Okay, this is staged, it's scripted. All right. Well, if you got your eyes open, you clearly see this is not a freak of nature or just, something that just spontaneously happened all of a sudden. All right. There's a reason to call it the CDC. Was it CD? CD. Slock it down. Now I gotta fucking what you call it. You don't know what I'm talking about though. Slock it down. Yeah, Control Disease Center, CDC. So Control Disease Center is the reason why it's controlled diseases, right? And it's a center because they, they release these viruses, right? They release these viruses, and if you're not in woke.
No complicated routine. Just 1 2-hour shot of dose-free liver helps keep my energy stable throughout the day.
How about this? Quarantines?
Other ways. All right. If you don't know that, Esau is manipulating these diseases, I don't know, you just lost. All right. But yeah, he's doing this again because he already telepath, through Bill Gates. Bill Gates already said that the next shutdown, all right, it's gonna be worse than the first one. Okay, and with this disease in India, the Nipah virus, right? They're starting it off with slow low cases, right, of people catching it, and then it's just gonna continue to grow You know, Esau, just like he did with, C-119. All right, and he's doing it right while everybody's distracted with all the other, things that are happening in the world. Okay, all the other events that's happening in the world. He can secretly, do this. Well, not secretly, because people that's in the know, but he can do this while people distracted. That's what I'm saying. All right, he's setting up the other, the events that's around the world as a decoy, and he can pass legislation and laws and stuff like that, and have these other situations happen. All right when you're not looking. All right, so this is a possibility. This could be. Well, you can't pinpoint it. We just gotta keep watching, see what's going to happen. But yeah, man, he eventually is going to kick this off because it's in the scriptures, and he has to move on with his NWO. All right, and in Illuminati card games, it said he was going to, pull this type of mess where he's going to use diseases. All right, he's going to use disease by way of controlling people. All right, and when the first lockdown happened, that outbreak of C-119, okay, he had you people in great fear, and you was able to be subjugated onto the new laws that were put in place, which was a trial and error. But now, he see how that went, so he got his, information of how to move on you people, all right? So he said this disease, the Nipah disease in India, all right? We're going to see how it's going to spread. And why is it always a damn disease from a bat? What's up with that, man? I never understood that. All right, this is another disease that's being, initiated from a damn bat. All right. But yeah, I hate these scriptures, man. Okay. Because the people are more alert, man. And as you see, Anthony Daniels, all right, he even said he's not having that. Like, I'm not going back to, them days of COVID where everybody's locked up and shit like that. People are way more on edge and way more alert. And, Esau can't run that game like he used to. He's going to have to come with something really severe in order to get the people to bend to his will. All right, because American people, man, people in general, they're not just going for anything anymore. All right, especially now that the bread and circus and their comfortabilities have been taken away from them, they on edge, man. All right, so yeah, and then the majority of people don't even trust the government no more, and they see Donald Trump. A lot of people see Donald Trump as not being for them, or after everything that has occurred throughout the him being in office, all right, which was not long. Okay, so yeah, man, let me hit these scriptures. All the symptoms, how you get it, is the same as to a regular cold too. So they damn near making it seem like it's A-type, for symptoms, A-type symptoms, which is symptoms where like you can barely recognize if you got it or not. Anyway, this is Luke. Luke 21:8. He says, he said, Yahushua said this, right? Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed. The time draweth nigh near. Go ye not, therefore, after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, which we're hearing of it right now, okay, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, so when we hear these things, it's not the end yet, man. All right, there's somewhat a chronological order of how they're going to go. All right, far as when this kingdom will come to a complete end. Verse 10 says, Then say he unto them, nations arise against nations and kingdoms kingdom. We're seeing that. All right, if you pay attention to the news, it says, great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, famines, pestilence, fearful signs, and great signs shall there be in the heavens. All right. And we seeing all these crazy falling stars and meteorites and the chariots, man. Okay, you're seeing it, and it shall turn to you for testimony. Testimony is a formal evidence given by a witness under an oath or affirmation, either orally in court or through written dispositions to establish facts in legal administrations. Right. So is it basically a person, a person that has evidence and reveals those evidence through being a witness of the incident that happened. All right. It's a witness with the facts, and then what that witness with the facts, they what you call it, man? They communicated to the people. All right. But yeah. Yeah, so it's a pestilence, man. Okay, diseases. That's what we're seeing. The Nipah virus over in India, East India, is a pestilence. Psalms 41:1 says, Blessed is he that considereth the poor. The Lord will deliver him in a time of trouble. And the poor is Israel. The poor who God is concerned about is his people, which are Israelites. Okay? And we're in a time of trouble right now. So if you're part of the elect, whatever Esau is coming with, like these viruses, outbreaks and shit like that, you ain't gonna be affected by it, because the Lord has a spiritual, an invisible force field, and the angels are capped around them that fear the Lord. All right, the Lord is going to deliver the elect through all these troubles that they're faced with in these last days. The Lord always gonna make a way. So the elect is not supposed to fear these things. The Lord will not part of that number. Okay? The Lord will not part of that number. All right, and then the scripture said that these things must come to pass in order for our kingdom to come. So we're not supposed to fear these things. We're actually supposed to embrace them. All right, and really hope for them. We're supposed to hope for them to come to pass, because that's the only way. That's the only way we're gonna we're gonna be in our kingdom, man. All right, and that's how this kingdom's going down through away violence, and all these disastrous events. All right, in order for our kingdom to be birthed. All right, well, yeah, man. That's just a news update. With that, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh Hashem Roshad, the long sponsor, El's great Muslim, blessed God, elect, few sisters in Islam, Shalom.